girl. Hey. So this weekend.
Wow. That was a lot.
This weekend, girl, on Saturday. I went to Scotland Neck, North Carolina.
I've never heard of that place before.
Well, do you know where Raleigh is?
Yes.
Well, if you keep heading east, about an hour and a half.
You hit the ocean, right?
No, that's two hours away.
Oh, okay.
An hour and a half. Actually, it's northeast. So you know where Rocky Mount is?
I do know where Rocky Mount is, honey. Yes.
So about 45 minutes outside of Rocky Mount is this little tiny town called Scotland Neck. Okay.
Okay.
There's not much there.
Okay.
But
I already figured that out.
Cotton fields. There's tons of cotton fields. Okay.
Right.
But also in this town, there is the Sylvan Bird Sanctuary. It is one of the coolest places I've ever been to. They have like large field areas that are open that have nets over them, so you can walk in with like endangered birds.
I will agree. That sounds quite amazing.
When I first got there, I was like, oh, these birds, they're just in enclosures. You won't be able to actually see them or anything. But then as you walk around a little bit, it's open. Like there are not all the birds, like some of the storks and everything that would like bite the shit out of you.
Okay.
Are kept separate, but like ducks and scarred ibises, like scarred ibises just flying right overhead. Then, girl, they have a room full of flamingos and parakeets.
You felt like you were home.
Where you can feed the parakeets and the flamingos.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like I can't feed a flamingo because the bill's too big, right? Even though they are just filter feeders and they really just kind of eat like a horse, like Sarah Jessica Parker just taking it out of your hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just letting that Sarah Jessica Parker joke go by Archa.
Totally am.
Okay. But parakeets, they have little seeds on. They hand you popsicle sticks that been dunked in peanut butter and have seeds on them. So they just land on the thing and like eat off the seeds. But parakeets are kind of mean. So they have you ever been bit by a parakeet?
Oh, no, it was a parrotlet.
Okay. Oh, that's even worse. Ouch.
Yeah.
Ow.
It was a parrotlet. It was not. That was unpleasant.
Yeah, my husband didn't realize they bit.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. But then afterwards, we were craving some food, and my husband's pescatarian, so we went to town, and I was like, oh, this barbecue place has really good ratings. Let's go over here to this barbecue place. I walk in and I see it's nothing but black people, and I'm like, thank God. Lord. And then I turn to the side and see no credit, checks, or EBT, and I'm like, damn it, I have to march my ass over to the bank to get to the ATM, then march my ass back.
They ain't paying no processing fees.
And it was takeout only.
Of course it was.
Of course it was. So I'm ordering, and they're like, would you? I ordered a 2-piece fish. Scream at the back, we need fish. We ain't got. Why you need fish? We already put one on. Well, I need 2 more. Well, why you won't put 2 more on? Cause somebody's ordering. Why are you arguing with me?
I love it,
girl. As this old woman is just got her hush puppy batter and is just throwing it slowly into this ancient ass cast iron skillet full of oil, rolling her eyes at these 2 people yelling at each other. Girl, that barbecue was so good. And I was, and I being the only white person in that building. And girl,
I love it. I want to go now.
When Slick came in, I know his name is Slick because that's what they called him.
Hey, Slick.
Wearing his brown suit and hat with a cane. He had a cane.
Of course.
Came in hugging everybody. Hey, Slick, how are you? How are you, Slick?
Honey, you had a real experience. Like you got a show today.
Girl, and I was like, this is home. I miss this. This is.
I mean, you got to go Go with my mama to one of her church things. You
And then this one woman ordered her barbecue chicken, but I don't want no barbecue sauce on it now. You don't want, no. Can you do that? I guess I can. And then she sits down and starts screaming at him, don't forget my hot sauce.
See, that's different. Different than barbecue sauce. That's
And
different.
then another woman came up, and as she was at the door, the man behind the counter, as I was ordering, just said, Lord Jesus, why does she come in here every day and order 2 barbecue sandwiches? I can't deal with her today. And after I ordered my food, she came up. He's like, hey, how you doing? Can I get my 2 barbecue sandwiches? Like,
I'm telling you right now, the next time Mama's Church has one of their little friends and family days, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna send it right over and be like, come on. Miss Mims is going with you this time. Because she needs her little bit of melanin to keep her going.
Lord,
because that church, they'll hug on you.
I know. I don't need all that. I prefer the discomfort to the hugging.
They will love it. They will love it. They will be like, who this? Oh, this is one of my sons. You know how she is. Because you ain't like normal family. You're like son family.
I know, Lord, girl. So how's your weekend been? I watched Drag Race.
Oh, the UK one?
Uh-huh.
What are your thoughts?
Oh, why wasn't she gone 4 weeks ago?
I know, right? I know. And I think for me, obviously, I know that there have been multiple challenges that were just not Black Peppa's kind of thing.
Right.
But good gracious, at least she puts in effort. You know,
It's
at
true.
least she tries. Like, she gets it wrong, but she puts in the effort, as opposed to that one.
Yeah.
Who's just like, aren't I naturally just gonna win every week? I think I'm gonna win because I'm just that perfect. And you're like,
I don't think she's that talented.
I don't either. But I tell you what, I admire her confidence because
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Like,
I don't understand.
So I will say Jompers John Burrs, not Jompers. I thought it was Jompers, Jompers. It's John Burrs, Jonbers.
John Burrs.
John
Yes.
Burrs. I thought John Burrs, she's really grown on me, right? Like,
Yes.
she was boring at first. She's still a little boring, but she's grown on me, right?
I think the thing about John Burrs is that for the first half of the season, I don't know this for, she never stated this, but I really felt like she was trying to not be that Irish queen. And ever since the Snatch game,
Yeah, she's like, I'm the Irish queen.
I'm just going to embrace it. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, why not embrace it? That's the whole point of this. And ever since then, it seems like she's a different person.
So who's your favorite one left? Who do you want to win?
Who do I want to win?
Yes.
So it's weird because I really love Danny. Like, I really love Danny Beard.
Yeah.
A lot. But there's and I can't put my finger on it, something about him rubs me the wrong way. And it's
the face plumping.
No, it's not that. I think it's the thing that, I love him and Cheddar equally, right? But the problem is that Danny talks to everybody from this place of, this is what you should have done. This is what you should have done. This is what you should have done. Just what you should.
Yeah.
Like, every week. And I'm like, what? You're not winning every challenge. So, I mean, do you, come on now.
Have you watched any? It's on Hulu. It's called Drag SOS.
Drag SOS. I haven't even seen that.
So it's one season.
Okay.
2019. So it debuted just before the pandemic and then was dead.
Okay.
It's their version of We're Here.
Oh.
It's the Gorgeous family doing it. So it's Cheddar Gorgeous. Licorice Black is one of them.
What?
Yeah, it is. And they actually make the outfits. So it's not like here where they just have money thrown at them to do it.
Yes.
They actually go and buy the outfits. And it's a little more wholesome, like, because British stuff is a little more wholesome.
Just like that. Yes.
But I highly suggest it. And it gave me, I think I'm 2 or 3 episodes in of like 6, whatever. It's Britain. But it's made me appreciate Cheddar more.
Right.
And Cheddar is always incredibly thoughtful. That is my I think that's what if I were to say what's missing between Cheddar and Danny, it's thoughtfulness, right?
Yeah, and it's funny because it's like the only time Danny is thoughtful is when Danny's talking or thinking about himself.
Speaking of thinking about ourselves, dear listeners at Maim, did you know that we have a Patreon?
Let's talk about it.
I just looked down and we're like, oh, we are running, so we're going to go through this fast. Dear listeners, you go to patreon.com. Maim, you can throw us some money. Hey, Maim.
Yeah.
Did you know we have another podcast? It's called You Slay Me. It's a Murder, She Wrote podcast. Hey, Maim.
Yes.
What else do I normally say at the beginning? What am I missing? What am I missing? Do you know what I like?
No.
Oh, no, wait. I forgot about merchandise. Go to MrMahaffey.com, get some merchandise. Do you know what I like, Maim?
No.
Ratings. Dear listeners, if you really like us, subscribe and give us 5 stars. This is season 4, episode 4, Nightmare from Hee Haw.
I'm Julia Sugarbakers. I'm Julia Sugarbakers. I'm Julia Sugarbakers. I'm Julia Sugarbakers. And that's Marjorie. Just so you will know, and your children will someday know, is the night the lights went out in Georgia. The lights went out, the lights went out, the lights went out, the lights went out. And that is the night the lights went out in Georgia.
I'm sorry, I didn't know.
Well, now you do.
Woo! I just had a little bit of a moment there, didn't I, girl?
It was a lot.
Well, usually I try to get done by 8 minutes, and we were prattling on till 10:30.
Well, honey, that's because this episode is not going to take very long.
Well, how do you know? It could take forever. So we're at Sugar Bakers.
Sugar Bakers!
And JD's here with a beard. Bless him.
I liked it with a beard. I personally thought he looked better with a beard.
I know like that JD at all.
I know that, but I
don't think he's a good actor.
Man.
I don't think he's the best person. Like, I mean, on the show, like, I'm sure he was a good person. He was very Gene Smart, but like, and they were in love. Like, they were in love. But girl, I do have a question for you.
Yes.
What's love got to do?
Oh, got to do with it.
What's love but second-hand emotion?
Yes, Henny. Miss Tina Turner. Yes, Henny.
Who needs a hardware?
We're gonna get sued. You're going too long. We're gonna get sued.
The only thing I think of whenever I see Graham Norton was he put it in. Tina
Burner.
Tina Burner. Yeah.
Yes. Did it many times.
Anyway, Suzanne is late.
Of course she is.
And Dash isn't invited because they're just friends and he has Major Dad to deal with.
Exactly. When she said it, I was like, oh, wait, this is after Major Dad started.
I've got a question. Have you watched, I've got a cartoon for you that's not in Kanto. So you still have to watch Encanto, but there's one that you will like better. It's called Miller versus the Machines. Have you seen this?
Miller versus the Machines.
I think it's Miller versus. It's something versus the Machines.
Nope.
It's on Netflix. It's a Sony movie.
Oh.
It's Sony animation. It is about a girl trying to go to college and mechanized Holocaust happens. But it's family and loving and
it's a
war.
Cartoon.
Yes.
About mechanized Holocaust.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, I mean it's Olivia Colman plays a AI that takes over the world.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all you had. You could have just led with that, and I would have.
It's very
watched it.
funny. It's got Maya Rudolph in it, Abby Jacobson.
you've got to learn how to lead with these things, because that's the thing that was like, oh, okay, great, that was it. It's just robotic holocaust. I'm like, oh, okay, that sounds a delight.
Girl, you like that kind of shit.
I like it sometimes. Sometimes when I'm in my feelings, it's not my favorite.
Oh no, girl, I have something very important to tell you.
Yes.
It's a vacation episode of
No.
Designing Women.
Somebody's gonna fight.
So they're going canoeing. And Suzanne walks in and she was talking about how she was reminded recently of that movie with Burt Reynolds and Ed, what's his name, about going to the canoes in rural Georgia. Had hillbillies attacking them. She's talking about Deliverance.
I love Ned Beatty. When I was a kid, he was one of my favorite actors.
Have you ever seen Deliverance?
Oh, yes.
Oh, I have not.
Oh, you should watch it. It is...
Really?
It's an amazing movie. Now, all jokes aside, right? All the jokes aside, it is actually a spectacular thriller. And I hate that it got reduced down to what it got reduced to, because it is actually, like, within the context of just the movie, it's quite frightening. Unfortunately, homophobia has turned it into a joke because of something that happens in the movie.
Well, I'm going to skip a little bit and we're at the cabin.
It's just more Deliverance jokes. Honestly.
It is. And they finish canoeing and they're coming home and they're very tired. They're very tired. And Suzanne didn't trust the driver because, whenever you go canoeing, dear listeners, I don't know if you've ever gone canoeing in the South, but they drop you off and then they drive down to the end of the canoeing thing and pick you up and drive you back to either the campsite or cabin or wherever.
Because you can't canoe upriver.
Right. Dear listeners, I love going tubing down rivers, which is just you getting a huge inner tube with a bunch of other people at a cooler full of pimento cheese sandwiches and beer, and you slowly drift down the river. What? I'm going to do it right.
I just love it. Like the pimento cheese is what completes that vision for me.
Do you
a little bit wet from your fingers being river water?
Girl, last time I went tubing, we stopped at the Food Kitty just before, and they had pre-made pimento cheese sandwiches, so I didn't even have to, make them. Just buy them. Just buy there were 3 of us. Just buy them and throw them in the cooler with some beer.
Good old Food Kitty. It's always there for you when you need it.
Why do I seem to remember that another person the thing had one of those little plastic glasses of wine going down the...
that would be me personally. I think if I went tubing, I would probably just bring like a refrigerated box of Franzia and just drink it from the spout. Yeah, why not? You just turn it upside down, stick the straw in there. That's all you do. Just a juice box.
It really is, girl.
It's just an adult juice box.
Have you ever had an alcoholic juice box?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know. Or a Capri Sun.
Oh, yeah.
There's a place near us that takes syringes, puts alcohol in them.
Exactly. Literally.
They're delicious.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
So Suzanne thinks the driver was a country western killer. And the baby, we find out Charlene's baby was just so excited seeing all those trees and everything. It was kicking all the way. And Suzanne says, of course it was. It's a little hick.
The way that she delivers that word every time, it feels like a hate crime.
So everybody decides to go into the city.
Mm-hmm.
The city. Girl, that's part of what reminded me of my thing this weekend, because this city is about the same size as Scotland Neck, North Carolina.
The city.
To eat dinner.
Oh my gosh.
And Suzanne's like, no, y'all can go without me. It's fine. And Maryjo goes up to her and says, it's said that if you, at night on the Georgia countryside, you can see the ghost of Ned Beatty just wandering through naked. And Suzanne's like, all right, we can go. So they go to this bar in rural ass Georgia, which I have a problem with, first of all, because this is obviously a dry county.
Hey, I thought so too. I was like, this doesn't even like, especially when they did like, I mean, I know it's like just stock footage, but when they did the stock footage of the town, I was like, that town doesn't have alcohol. Like,
no,
what are you
it
talking
definitely
about?
does not. Not in 1989. What are they talking about?
No.
And if you look at the bar closely enough, the stars and bars are there. Isn't that wonderful?
Again, I
Yes.
saw it too. I was like, great.
Oh, yeah, wonderful. Wonderful.
I can't right now.
Yeah, dear listeners, we just had a run-in with that, and you slay me. That's our last episode. If you called Powder Keg, it was a racism potentially.
It was a racism. I don't know why I love when you call it like that. Every time. It was a racism.
Well, rather than calling it racist, I like to like zero in on specific instances of it. That makes it like crystal clear, because you could be not racist 90% of the time, but you can commit a racism. And if you say, that is a racism, you can point that out and be wrong. They can be no,
Lady
it's wrong.
Gaga, you can have 99 non-racists in the room, but that one racist is there for you.
Oh God. Jesus. So they're chit-chatting. Maryjo's a little drunk, and they're talking about how backwards it is. And Maryjo says, I think we're the only people here who know who Leonard Bernstein is.
Can we pause for a moment? Can we talk for a minute about what is this bizarro universe that we just inhabited, where the ladies are acting completely opposite of their characters?
I don't know.
Like, how drunk does Maryjo have to be literally the opposite of her normal self?
Well, and Julia talks about the men being the Charles Darwin Hall of Fame.
Loudly.
The only thing that keeps a character is Charlene's eating a squirrel.
That's it. That was it. Stuck in her teeth.
Yeah, and Bill's disgusted and like you're making us all uncomfortable. And Charlene's like, what? Why?
I just talked about somebody eating squirrel yesterday too, and it was really funny because I remember a person I dated. Their grandmother used to like squirrels' brains and eggs. And it was when they said it today during the episode, I was just like, oh boy.
Like I will eat. There's not much I want to eat, right? Like brains, have a hard time with a million brains because that can have some prion stuff that I don't want to deal with. But like, because we probably shouldn't be eating brains, but like I'll eat squirrel legs. I've had frog legs; they aren't that good to me. There's not much. Would you eat squirrel?
I don't know. I don't.
Have you eaten rabbit? Rabbit's delicious.
I think I've had rabbit before.
Okay.
I think I've had rabbit. I've had down here. I've had goat. Because that's very common here.
Yeah.
I've had frog's legs.
Alligator, meh.
Yeah. So I mean, I
don't like octopus. I like squid. I don't like octopus.
I'm not really like a super big meat person anyway.
Yeah.
So it's just like when it starts getting into like, I guess you call it the exotic meats, I'm just like, you know what? I can just have the sides. I'm good.
Yeah, and like in America, like lamb is exotic meat. Ooh.
Over in Scotland and England, it's like just everyday meat.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know why lamb's exotic meat here? And this is being dead serious. What I'm getting ready to tell you.
No, tell me why.
Because Jesus is the Lamb of God, and it got into our psyche. Like, I kid you not. It got into our puritanical psyche to not eat lamb.
No part of what you're saying right now even sounds non-feasible. Like everything you're saying, I don't even doubt what you're saying right now because I'm like, oh yeah, makes sense.
Like, but it's like for some reason, it's like, oh no, not that there's anybody has anything against it. It's just it's put a in our thing. But lamb's delicious.
Lamb.
I love a good lamb curry.
A lamb curry?
Uh-huh.
That sounds good, actually. Well,
Have you never had an Indian lamb curry?
I don't think so. I think I've only had like beef curry and chicken curry. I don't think I've ever had lamb curry. I don't think so. I could be wrong.
So next time you come up here, girl, we have some of the best Indian places in the nation in Cary.
Of course you do, because of the triangle.
We have one of the largest Indian populations in the United States in Cary. And we also have, let me also add, and we have one of the richest Indian populations in the United States in Cary. And they demand good Indian food. It is fantastic.
I love you like they demand it.
Well,
they demand it.
Charlene is singing the J-Lo song, Let's Get Loud. Let's get loud. Let's get loud. Everybody.
Music from the
and Suzanne looks over at the guys standing at the bar, and she doesn't like how that guy is looking at the back of her neck.
Which is so gross. It's like, I know exactly what she's talking about. Everybody's had that feeling.
So this old man and his sons come on over.
Oh, man.
It's Daddy Jones, Jr., Rupert, and Nub.
Oh, this is like all of it is giving me just home vibes.
And Daddy Jones is talking to the women, and he wants to, dance with them. The boys were trained by someone who went to Arthur Murray School of Dance in Decatur, Georgia.
I kind of loved that moment.
That whole line right there.
I have to say, of this episode, although I'm sure he's not supposed to be my favorite, he is my favorite part of this entire episode because some of the stuff that he says, I just giggled because it's like you could not ignore the fact that some of the things he says are very So when he said Arthur Murray, I was like, yes, honey, yes.
Reese says, fine, just one dance.
It's not just one dance.
No. But so, and we find out they're going through, and we find out Nubs is the gynecologist, so he's going to dance with Charlene. The daddy's going to dance with Suzanne. Junior is going to dance with Maryjo, and Rupert. Hold on, I think I said Nubs, Suzanne. Nubs is going to dance with Charlene, and Rupert wants Suzanne. And in the background, you hear CCR's version of Proud Mary start playing loudly. I don't know why that was the choice, but here we are. Left a good job in the city.
Working for man. People do that at karaoke, and I'm just going to tell you right now, dear listeners, if you do any of that song, please remember it has a male and a female part. So that you can, because you'll never choose the Creed Water one. You always choose the other one. Please remember, it is a 2-person song, because if you don't know the first part, then you're just going to be staring at the screen like, what am I supposed to be doing now?
Yep. Ike starts it off, and then it goes Tina. And I mean, nobody cares about the Ike part.
I have done the Ike Turner part so much.
You beat a woman on stage.
I don't like you right now. I don't like you. The only beating I ever do on stage is what I do to my poor wigs. That's about it.
I've seen them. They're poor. Anyway, I'm kidding. Oh Lord. But so Rupert wants Suzanne. Suzanne's like, no, I've got PMS. What's that? Female trouble. And they're like, oh, would you rather have Nubs? She's like, no, I guess Rupert's fine. So it's later. The Reese is drinking a beer because apparently that's what you do.
Yes.
When you ladies get taken. It's been 5 dances.
Yeah.
And the girls are over it. Julia keeps looking back at Reese like, help me, help me. And the old man, I believe right now is when he's singing his song.
So much.
And
when we get behind closed doors, then she lets her hair hang down. Oh,
Yeah.
I love it so much.
Who sang that song?
I don't remember. I think like Waylon Jennings. I don't remember.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was a very controversial song back then.
So the old man invites Julia to a cookout, and he's like, do you know what a cookout is? And she's like, yeah, it's where you get a lot of meat and just cook it out. It's like, yep.
You would think that based on just the ladies' Southern accents, that they would not think of them as being like that out of touch with Southern culture, that they don't know what a cookout is.
It's true. It's true. Although there is a dichotomy here because Julia and Suzanne have that rich people Southern accent, right?
Oh, that's true. I didn't think about it like
Charlene
that.
and Maryjo are supposed to have the poor Southern accent. Dear
That's
listeners,
true.
if you didn't know, there are within like a city or a small area, there are multiple accents. Like in states where we're all poor, like we all have you either have the poor white or the poor black accent, right? There's two accents. Am I wrong?
No.
Yeah. Like, but when you go to a city like Wilson, which has rich white people, poor white people, and the black people, you get three accents there. You get the rich whites, the poor whites, and the black people, right? It is a very odd accent. It's all done by racism and where we ended up in life.
Wilson,
North Carolina.
Girl.
God.
Actually, it actually is really funny because, I mean, even as us having this conversation, people would listen to the two of us saying, you two didn't grow up in the same place.
No, we didn't. But
we did.
Yeah, but we both also have bastardized accents anyway, because I have German influence in mine.
And I have French Canadian. I don't know. Like my dad's voice.
You often don't even sound Southern, right?
Most of the time.
Yeah. And you can tell, dear listeners, you guys can probably tell whenever I go back home and come back, my accent's probably
It is
worse.
thick.
I mean,
it's so thick. It's thick like pudding.
Like pudding, like. And I will tell you, when I was in that place in Scotland Neck, North Carolina, that my accent got a lot stronger, and I was saying sir and ma'am and thank you very much multiple times to everybody involved.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Much appreciated, sir. Much appreciated, ma'am. Thank you.
I do that here. People look at me like I am on, like, they always look at me as if I have had, like, brain injuries or something. Like,
well, girl, there's a slight difference. I was a white person in a black restaurant. Like,
Boo-boo, they do that to me no matter where I go down here, regardless of the establishment. They're all like, what? Who are you talking to? What?
So there's another barbecue restaurant in Scotland Neck that had, this one had like 4.5 stars on Google. The other one has 3.9 stars. I didn't go in, but something tells me it's the white barbecue place.
Okay.
I didn't go. I did not go, so I cannot judge it. I went to the one with the best rating.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, just go to the other one the next time you go.
No, probably not going to. Probably just going to pack my lunch, because it was apparently 3 p.m. on a Saturday is a lot of people coming in to eat dinner already.
Oh.
In suits.
Oh. Maybe
Yeah,
there was a church service or something like that.
Or a funeral.
That's probably what it was.
It probably was funeral, because there was a lot of, okay, that explains a lot now that I think about it, because there were a lot of people in black there too.
Yeah, because there would have been no reason on a Saturday at that time that people would be in suits unless it was something like that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
What are we talking about?
I don't know, but we're back over to Nubs and Charlene. And we find out that he's delivered all 15 of his children
Oh.
And he that's why they call him the gynecologist. And Charlene said, well, that's kind of amazing since you only finished third grade. Well, his most recent daughter got named at the hospital. They named her for him. They named her Famale, Female. I hate that joke. I've heard that joke so many times, and I still, girl, do not like it.
I mean, it's not a good joke. So, I mean, it's not a good
so
joke.
we pan over to Junior, and he's like, "You're just so tiny, I could just eat you up." He lifts her up. And we pan over to Suzanne, and she's like, I was Miss State Patrol 2 years in a row, and the state patrolmen loved me, and they would not let a single thing happen to a hair on my head. And she said, do you know what that means? Yeah, you don't want your hair messed up. Girl. Truth to fiction.
It's funny, once again, as our little parallels in life, when that person said that thing to Maryjo, I was like, I've had guys say that to me before.
What, that you don't want your hair messed up?
No, to Maryjo, when you talked to how small she was.
Oh, yeah.
I actually had a guy that did pick me up like that back in like my younger days. Like that same thing. I was like, my parallels with this woman's life are very disturbing.
Well, that's why you started weightlifting so much.
I don't think it was that. Was it that? No, it wasn't that. It was just
okay.
like, no, it wasn't. It, literally like, and I don't really, I mean, I still do it, but not like I used to.
Yeah.
I think for me,
you were mildly obsessed with it back in the day.
I was mildly obsessed with it, but I think it's because I was never very athletic.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how to describe this to our listeners. I was a kid who actually did play sports, so I wasn't like, I actually did a lot of that. I just was never very good at most of them. And so when I started lifting weights, I was like, oh, this is just a thing. It's like there's no competition.
Yep.
I could just like feel pretty good and leave here. So yeah, I did have a little bit of a mild obsession because I was like, oh, I'm actually okay at this. I seem to be getting stronger.
Yeah. Oh, goodness.
When we get behind closed doors. Sorry, dear listeners, as I was telling Mims before the call before we started this today, that song and this show are forever intrinsically locked in my brain since the 80s, so badly that I don't actually hear the original singer ever in my head when I hear this song start to go off. It's still Daddy or whatever his name was. That's all I ever hear when I think of
so Reese butts in and he's like, it's time for me to take these our ladies home. And
wait.
Daddy's
Boys.
like, oh, well, again, we're gonna fight. And Nubs throws a chair through a
throws it
door,
randomly through a window.
Like,
I'm like, what did that window do to you, Nubs? Like, what?
And like they're fighting. There's some comedic fighting, and somebody turns over, screams over to Maryjo and says, "Maryjo, do something!" And do you know what Maryjo does? 9, 1, 1.
Could you imagine
the best joke of the entire episode? Go on, girl.
But could you imagine if you didn't see that other episode? You would be like, I don't get it.
Girl, why would you watch this one if you hadn't watched that previous one?
I guess you could have watched it during like summer reruns, maybe, I suppose, if you didn't see the original run. I mean, it was the best joke of the whole episode. Like, that's actually one of the first times they've thrown it back to a previous episode before.
So we're at the hospital now.
Lord have mercy.
The men are not doing so well. Reese calls Anthony. And we find out that Reese was bitten on his ear. He used to do fisticuffs back in Harvard. And
fisticuffs?
He was Golden Glove or something. But this is the first time he was bitten.
Oh, fisticuffs.
The girls come in. Charlene's crying because Bill's nose broken. Oh no, your nose! I always loved your nose.
It was okay. It was an okay nose.
And Maryjo was like, they wouldn't have noticed us. I apologize for being so loud. They wouldn't have noticed us if I hadn't gotten so loud. Suzanne just goes, yeah, they would have, They noticed me whenever I walked in the room.
So humble.
So humble, so brave.
So humble.
And then they're like, well, we got a hotel, but we need to go back to the cabin tomorrow to get the stuff out the cabin. And Reese's like, no, I don't want y'all going to the cabin. Most sensible thing Reese said all day.
Yes.
And Suzanne's like, no, my makeup's there. Some things are non-negotiable.
I love those so much. Some of these lines are some of just my absolute favorites.
So we're at the cabin, and Suzanne, they're talking about Suzanne's putting on her makeup, and she's like, well, last night was like a nightmare from Hee Haw. And then they start razzing Julia, and Maryjo starts dancing to her, singing that song. Those are guest jeans, by the way.
BT dubs. I mean, we'll talk about it later.
Yeah,
I'm about to say something. I'm like, wait.
Those are guest jeans, which were expensive at the time.
Yeah, she's treating herself. She's treating herself. She should.
They start making fun of everybody, and Julia makes fun of Suzanne for talking about PMS, and the men show up.
Not the men that we know. The men.
The men. Like
the men.
Daddy Jones and his sons. They apologize, and they offered to have them eat some quail on a picnic. They've got a AM FM radio and hi-fi radio and a mess of quail. And Julia's like, we have a AM FM radio and a mess of quail of our own. We don't need to. Julia starts losing it, and Anthony comes in pretending to be the FBI, and like he tries to take the girls out. Junior touches him, and Anthony's like, how dare you? Don't you know these are lethal weapons? And he's like, Nubs is like, don't you know he can eat a Dodge Dart piece by piece and not even belch? Anthony goes outside and just screams help.
And then we just cut away.
Yeah, and we cut away. We're at the hospital again. JD's the girls come in to talk to them as they're being released. JD's like, well, you don't have to keep asking me on these outings. We are not together anymore. Hopefully this is the last time we see JD.
You're so terrible.
And Reese is asking where Anthony is. We find out he's in the ER.
What?
But Anthony then comes in without a scratch on him. Apparently the Jones boys are pretty beaten up. But Anthony's got 2 bodyguards that he knows from his unfortunate incarceration.
Oh,
so they took care of it for him.
Oh, come on, Anthony.
And Reese is like, hey, is there anything, do you want any money or anything? It's like, well, no, but you could fix this tooth for me. Well, why's your tooth loose? Did they hit you? Well, no, they bit me, but I bit back. Do 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 do. Hey, Maim.
Yes.
Did you find yourself a Miss Georgia World?
Maryjo Shively and those guest jeans and that yellow top with those suspenders. She looked maybe the best she's ever looked in such a simple ensemble, but she looked so good.
It really, we finally get to see her ass.
Yeah.
You know how they were talking about, like,
we always hear about her butt, but we never actually seen it.
Her cute little butt, but
we got to see her cute little butt, her cute little waist. Like she's got it.
Yeah,
like she's petite, but she looked so good.
Yes, she did.
And her dancing around like that kind of showed it off. I was like, she does have a nice figure. Like, she looks great.
Girl, I completely agree with you. It was a very good Maryjo episode. Even the other look with the suspenders and a little hat too.
Yeah. She was looking good this week.
A little young for her, but
I mean, if you're gonna be petite, you might as well keep on dressing young.
What's your excuse?
I'm not petite.
Oh, I thought you were tiny. Like the tiniest little human.
I'm just some shorts. It's different. I need a tapeworm to get back to being petite.
Your goal birth weight of 8 pounds 5 ounces.
It's really funny that you say that too. I was just thinking the other day, because I like to make dresses out of t-shirts, and so I was at the Burlington Coat Factory, like I do when I go try to find some fun t-shirts. And I was like, I can remember when I went to college, and I used to be an extra small t-shirt. And I thought,
you were extra small?
When I first went to college, I was extra small.
Were you depressed?
No, I was just very small.
Okay.
But I remember because we went shopping at the Gap my freshman year, because it was like, what else were we gonna do? Yeah. And I mean, it wasn't like extra small, and it was tight. It was like just extra small. When I was first in my last relationship, even there I could still wear Old Navy extra large boys shirts, because I used to wear those all the time.
And girl, please forgive me for asking the question, but what size are you now?
I'm like a men's large.
Okay.
Yeah.
Someone got titties.
Someone got some titties. Some titties and some back fat. Oh.
Oh, no, not the back.
Oh, some back fat, girl. You want some fat back for that?
I mean, yes, but not yours.
It's breakfast time. Y'all want some fat back. Can't make no gravy without some.
Babe. Did you enjoy this episode?
I did like it a lot. This one's, I don't like their fighting episodes, but to me, this one was a lot more tolerable than the last male-female fighting episode, because I actually like the Jones boys, or whatever they were. I actually enjoy them, because
why don't you ask me if I like this episode?
Did you like this episode?
No, period. So
to me, this was almost like an episode of Hee Haw. I liked it, so
Girl, Hee Haw had humor in it.
I thought that the country boys part was funny. I thought that their lines were funny. I did. I thought their lines were funny. So.
Man, why don't you tell our dear listeners where they can find you?
Oh boy, what a buzzkill! Hello, dear.
I hate it when you do this. Go on.
Is that your audition for Hocus Pocus 3? Because I think you got the job.
Oh God, which role am I?
Rock.
The Rock?
Just a rock.
Oh.
That's all. That's all you got. Hello, dear listeners. It's I, your favorite relation, Auntie Maim, coming to you again to tell you that you can follow me on social media at Auntie Maims with an S. You can follow me also on the different. What else are I doing?
I don't know what you're doing. You went right off the rails.
My brain just forgot. I was thinking of something and I got distracted. You can also find me doing the It's Happening Out television networks.
There's the first one.
Weekly show on YouTube and Roku and Apple TV and all of those things. You just have to search It's Happening Out and you should be able to find it. Also, if you're want to see me in real life, I perform every other week with the Villain Theater. It's improvised comedy theater in Miami, and I do the amazing Colossal Karaoke. It's like a cabaret show with karaoke included every Thursday night at Killy Rydell in Miami Beach. And you can also find me around South Florida doing stand-up. We can find out more about that on my social medias. How about you, Mims?
Hey, y'all. I'm the Divine Miss Mims. You can find me online at Divine Miss Mims. Hey, Maim.
Yes.
Did you know we have a Patreon?
I heard about it.
Dear listeners, if you go to patreon.com, Mims and Maim, you can throw us some money. Hey, Maim.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know we have another podcast?
Mm.
It's called You Slay Me. It's a murder she wrote podcast. Hey, Maim.
Yes.
Did you know we have merchandise?
What?
If you go to mimsandmaim.com, you can buy things. Hey, Maim.
Yes.
Do you know what I like?
No.
Making fun of you and ratings.
Oh,
dear
yes.
listeners,
Yes.
if you've made it this far in our podcast, won't you subscribe and throw us a 5-star review? We love to read them.
We do. We are
We
literate.
actually do. With as mean and as weird as I am, I still love ratings.
That doesn't. How does one cancel out the other?
Don't ask questions. Hey, babe.
Sorry, I did the thing again. Yes.
Do you have anything else to add?
No.
Why don't you just say goodnight, Maim?
Good night, Maim.
Bye, y'all.